Hello and welcome, Internet experts. Welcome to Everyone's an Expert. I was just informed and see in the chat we've got a special guest here today. So Ricky from 2-Bit Da Vinci and his fantastic YouTube channel is here and in the chat. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I still haven't checked out your last video, but I've been meaning to, the space tourism one. So I was one of the people in the poll who said I'll be getting to it, and I do mean to be. But I wanted to start out today with kind of the big thing that struck me this morning, and we've had a lot of news come up since then, was the Sandy Munro kind of rant. I guess he called it a rant for basically saying, hey, U.S. government, start appreciating Tesla for all the things they do and all of the innovation they're doing, because if we don't start appreciating companies like this, other countries that are investing either through state-funded means or appreciating the companies that are doing it are going to start to run circles around the U.S. So maybe placating all the big boys who aren't quite as advanced might be good PR, but it's not a good long-term strategy. And I wasn't. I think he got a couple of the facts about some of the investigations and things mixed up, but overall his sentiment I wholeheartedly agree with. And so I was really happy to see someone like that with clout, that people may take seriously, making those kind of statements, because it's a great American company, and the same kind of goes with SpaceX too. I think there were some things on Twitter today about ULA kind of trying to undercut SpaceX in that field, and it's like, I get why the other companies are doing it, but it's just not, for the country. It's a terrible long-term strategy, in my opinion. Yeah. Well, the thing that triggered Sandy's rant is when last week, as AI Day was happening, it was the same time I think NHTSA started investigating. Sandy said it was about fires, but I think, if I remember correctly, it was the hitting emergency vehicles pulled off to the side of the road, and it was 11 incidents over the course of 3 or 4 years, I think, and some of them were distracted driving and things like that. So it's good that safety organizations are investigating. Sandy was just kind of correlating that with, okay, this is happening at the same time as Tesla's introducing this major breakthrough in technology and their roadmap for advancing it. And then he was also talking about a Senate investigation, which it's not really an investigation. It's a couple senators want the Federal Trade Commission, I believe. I might have that wrong. But they want them to investigate Tesla over the marketing around autopilot as is it misleading or whatever. And so Sandy's point is, here we've got this company trying to save lives and developing technology that can save lots of lives, and we've got a government that's, with the EV kind of goals set up for 2030, they were completely ignored and not even mentioned. And then at the same time, we're actively, trying to slow their progress as they're trying to save lives. And he obviously has a passion for, keeping people safe on the roads. And his frustration was like, you could tell he was trying to hold it in, but he had some white hot rage cooking in there. So, like I said, it was good to see from someone with more clout, kind of taking a big stand and saying, hey, we've got to support American innovation. Matthew, welcome. Hey, Roland, good to see you too. Um, you're getting a Y? Oh, good. You guys are getting a Y. Great. Congratulations. Uh, yeah, you got to do a road trip. That's the thing. When you get an EV, you got to do a road trip. I did that in 2018. It was like, well, I got to see if it's possible, and that's kind of what started me on the whole thing. Is like, I want to switch to an EV. I know it's the right move, but can this really work for a real person other than just YouTube people? And I had a fantastic trip in 2018, and uh, several since then. So yeah, it can road trip, and it's super fun. So congratulations! I'm glad you guys have taken the plunge, and I hope the delivery doesn't take too long to get there. Um, so anyway, that kind of culminates with, and I know Ricky is part of. Uh, I'm trying to think of the name of your podcast. I'm sorry, with Matt Farrell from Undecided, with Matt Farrell. The Feel free to put it in the chat. But you guys are going to be talking, I think, tomorrow afternoon about what is Tesla's mission, and kind of going off with the whole thing of the Tesla robot. Does that even fit with the mission? And I did a video on that. Trying to think of what I called it. Failure is an option, because my take on it is that it's probably not Tesla's mission necessarily, but it is part of Elon's. If you take a step back and Elon's company's vision, I think he's leveraging the technology and expertise in Tesla to do something mostly for SpaceX. That's my take. And that although making robots to the human form factor doesn't seem to make a lick of sense on the earthbound side, but if you can make them work in that form factor, then send them to Mars. If they crash, it's not a big deal. Again, apologies to our robot overlords in the future. But then you can also test, can humans manipulate this or that on Mars or the Moon? Moon might be a different issue with the much lower gravity, but I think having a robot that can use their hands. You can test out spacesuits. You can put the robots in a human-sized spacesuit. One funny thing, again, this isn't my kind of deal, but it's definitely a Tesla meme. The 420 thing. The robot is 5'8", and that's 4'20". So pretty funny there. Just unnecessary, but why not? Anyway, so that's kind of my take on it. Is if you can train them on Earth to do human tasks, then send them to Mars. You don't have to worry about cancer, gravitation, or gravity problems, weightlessness problems, feeding them, water recycling, any of that stuff. If I didn't say it, like the cancer from the radiation and stuff. If you can just send them to Mars, and if they get there and can do some tasks, great. Start setting some things up. And if they can't, or the first couple ships explode on landing or trying to take off, you haven't lost astronauts. So somebody else, I can't remember who it was on Twitter, also posted that because of SpaceX national security issues, there are some people they can't hire, whether they're from different countries or don't have security clearances, or I'm not sure what the regulations are on that. But because SpaceX can't hire some of the people who could maybe develop that for SpaceX, having Tesla do it, that's not as really a national security concern in developing this, separate robot system. It's much easier, kind of like the Model 3 batteries and motors they're using for flap control. have Tesla develop it with their AI team and neural net training networks, and then once it's ready, SpaceX can just pluck it or buy a few and send them off to Mars. And if they make it, great. We get stuff set up in advance. If not, we've learned something. So that's basically my take on it. But I'm really interested to hear what Ricky and Matt have to say on that tomorrow. So I will be tuning in. Hey, Todd. Welcome. And Brooks likes the 420 joke. So good. Everyone's happy with that. You need a back massage robot? I was thinking about that. I don't think I could, you say this stuff now and then we'll see where we are in 10 or 15 years, but I don't think, we don't have like Alexa or, I can't think of what the other systems like that are called. I know our phones are always listening to us, but we don't have that kind of stuff in our house, and I feel like having a robot would be like way too creepy and not my deal. But my daughter does have special needs, and so maybe as a extra set of hands in the room or something, maybe down the road there could be some kind of help with that. It's going to take them a long time to develop this stuff, so I'm not thinking this is going to happen in the next couple of years and we'll learn a lot. I don't think we're going to hear about it for the next couple of years, and then when we do, it's going to be down the road. So be interesting. So the question you're debating tomorrow is if Tesla's losing its way in terms of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Vice versa. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Sorry I couldn't remember that. Are they losing their way? I think on the face of it, my gut reaction when they showed the robot was, what a stupid distraction. This doesn't make a lick of sense. It's just stupid, basically. And then I started thinking about, okay, well, if they can get this thing working on Earth and train it to do specific tasks, maybe the Mars thing. And then I was also thinking about the type of people they want to hire. And I may have seen this elsewhere on Twitter and different places too, is that if you want to hire the best AI people, they might not want to work for a car company. They might be more interested in a Boston Dynamics or something like that. So if you can say, come and work for us, help us train our neural net, help us develop these systems, but you don't necessarily have to get pigeonholed in the automotive world and just making a car go down streets. I can see for some, young up-and-coming talent, they might say, that's going to pigeonhole me for life. I don't want to do that. I want to make robots, or I want to aid in the space kind of stuff. And there's no future in that if I'm, helping a car get down a one-way street. So my take on it is that for a recruiting event, it probably wasn't a misstep. But for a public perception standpoint, it got a lot of headlines. Unfortunately, it got all the headlines. And I've rewatched AI Day a couple times now, and I'm not a computer person at all. But when you see how they're thinking about problems and how they're handling problems and how they're developing things to gang tackle these big problems, it's really, what they're really doing is pretty serious work. And going back to the question of are they losing their way? Does autonomy really matter if, when we're trying to, convert the world to sustainable transportation? But if you can get more usage out of each vehicle by robotaxis or other uses, that takes other cars off the road. And so I think in Elon's mind, at least, maybe not in everyone's mind, and so I'm really looking forward to your debate on this. If you can make each vehicle that's produced utilized more, or say 20% of them utilized more. I know a lot of people aren't going to want to robo-taxi their vehicle. That was kind of part of my plan. Like, hey, if this thing works out, I'm going to put it on the network, and we'll see. Hopefully, it can make some money or make the payments. But I think that utilization piece is why they see autonomy as so important. And I think it's also one of those things, and probably the robot too, that Elon is seeing these things are possible and no one is tackling them seriously or fast enough. I don't know if we need robots faster. That's up for debate. Again, for SpaceX, he probably needs them right away. I've rambled on a lot about that. So, but basically, I think that's his theory is this stuff needs to be done. No one's working on it. We're going to tackle it. Kind of like his response to the NASA spacesuits aren't going to be ready till 2025, the extra vehicle suits. And, he was like, well, we could do that if we have to. It's unfortunate, but the contractors who are usually used to working with NASA have all the time in the world with the cost plus contracting and everything. And, 2025, yeah, it's late, but who cares? Well, that's not how Elon's mind works. So there again, that's another potential use for the robots well before maybe these suits or SpaceX's suits could possibly be ready. Just going to catch up on here. Yeah, I think the Cybertruck and Roadster will come, and the Semi will come before a robot. But I also think, like I said, just getting started on something, and the people they'll bring in to do this will help with their overall neural net training. So I think, like I said, from a recruiting standpoint, it was probably a good thing to show from an investor and general person type of situation. I think it was kind of a distraction. And the dance went on a little too long. I actually thought they showed the rendering of the robot, then the dancer came out, and then I thought Elon was going to, send them off stage and go, okay, we're not, obviously that was fake. We're not doing a robot. But we are going to use robotics, our neural nets in robotics in other ways. And then he chased them off stage and then went into talking about the robot. So it took my mind a little while to shift over. Elon will make the robots dance. That's true. The Boston Dynamics robots already dance, so we're going to have a future of super creepy dancing robots. But yeah, they got to start getting those other vehicles out. And I know that's a battery and supply chain issue, which brings me to another thing. I'm just going to catch up on the comments here, and then I got another piece of information that is probably credible. He's making the... Yeah, I think it's, the excitement and challenging the smart people. So speaking of supply chain, I know part of the reason the Semi is delayed and probably Roadster 2 is supply chain issues and I know they got to get the 4680s cooking, but a friend of mine, and I'm not going to say their name, if they're watching and want to put something in the chat, they can. But they sent me something, and I don't know if, through their contacts, this could get someone in trouble or something. I'm not going to go into it. But basically, they sent me a message, direct message over Twitter about, copied from another person about some Chinese companies shutting down again. It sounds like it's due to the Delta variant in China, and it could spark another wave of chip shortages if China really clamps down and shuts things down for a while. I don't. Again, this is coming from a single source, and if they're watching and want to put something in the chat, they can. COVID really set back EV adoption, and now things are starting to roll. I've seen 2 ID4s just in my suburb in the last couple days, so that's great. More EVs, the better. But I think all manufacturers would be far further. I don't think we'd be seeing the delays from Rivian probably. I don't know about Lucid. Another piece of news on Lucid too, but I kind of felt like we were just crawling out of, we're going to get through this chip shortage and then the ball's going to start rolling again. Okay, it wasn't 2020, it's not 2021, maybe 2022, but man, if China shuts down, chip manufacturers, we could be looking at, another slow year next year, which would be just, it's really behind where I thought we'd be now. And obviously no one could have foreseen COVID or, all the ramifications. And obviously keeping people safe and alive is more important than getting chips out, tomorrow. But I hope this isn't a long-term thing and we can shut it down pretty fast. I did mention Lucid. I was watching Rob Maurer's podcast, the Tesla Daily, and he was saying, again, I haven't seen this for myself, but he was saying Lucid is now splitting their highest end Lucid Air, and there'll be like a high range version and then like Lucid Air Performance, Lucid Air Range. And it sounds like they can't quite have, I don't know if the motors need to be tuned differently or the BMS needs to be different to handle the different driving styles. Maybe a different motor needs to be in the range version, but it sounds like they're splitting those apart, which is kind of what I was thinking with when they stopped saying they were going to do the Plaid Plus, when Tesla stopped, said they're not going to do the Plaid Plus, they're just going to do Plaid. Part of my thinking then was, it doesn't seem like these competitors are really on their backs yet. So maybe they can kind of, take their foot off the gas. Terrible analogy for an EV show, but maybe they don't have to produce the Plaid Plus to outpace Lucid at this point if they know something we don't. And I don't know if they knew something we don't or what the reasoning behind the split on the Lucid Air is, but and it could just be, battery supply issues, chip supply issues, whatever. But found that pretty interesting. Hopefully it's a great car when it comes out. I'd obviously love to see one in person, but I don't think it's, they don't really compare themselves to Tesla, but a lot of people do, and I don't think it's a Tesla killer. I think it's another good option for people. So the performance people will get the performance version, the range people will get the range version, and hopefully everyone's happy. Dream Edition Performance and Dream Edition Range. Thank you, Ricky. You download the version 10 beta when it becomes available in 4 weeks. Yes, I will. 100% I will. I don't know if the 4 weeks is going to hold. I don't know if 4 weeks is the new 2 weeks. But there are a lot of roads around here that I've been just dying to test on FSD beta. And there's one not too far from my house that's like over a 90-degree turn. There's no stop sign. There's no anything. There's lines on the road, but it's just a sharp turn in the middle of the road for no reason. And I've tried it on regular autopilot. I have the full self-driving, so I have like Navigate on autopilot, and it's a little more robust than just the stock autopilot. But I've been dying. I even was trying that in our 2015 Model S with AP1. I was trying to get it to work there. So really been itching to do that. And then I've been told by people from the service center here in Minnesota that there are beta testers in Minnesota, just none of them are public. So some of the employees or maybe people who aren't able to talk about what they're doing, but people are testing it here. But there's a lot of roads in the Twin Cities I'd like to test. Up north, some rural communities I'm familiar with, I'd love to test it. And part of the reason I bought full self-driving, even knowing, especially when we bought it, that, hey, this thing might never happen. But for people like my daughter who have special needs and might not ever be able to drive themselves, I wanted to be an investor in that technology. And if I can help, train it, I'm not expecting perfection out of the box. But if I can help get it so someone else, whether my daughter can or not, in future years when she's older, if other people can be helped by this technology, then I really want to be a part of that as best I can. So investing in it was part of that, making that statement, voting with your dollars. And then as soon as it's available for public, as soon as the button comes out, I will be downloading it and testing it. And again, not expecting perfection, but I want to be part of that process of making it better. So in 5 years, it's not even a question of is a human better or is the car better. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I wanted to talk about a few other things. After all those big philosophical things, I want to talk about literate superchargers. Way to bring it down, man. Most people get so crazy excited about FSD or constantly dogging Tesla for taking so long. I just think that when I think about, in one of these earlier live streams, somebody, it may have been John, asked me, do I think we'll see, it may have been full self-driving in our lifetime? And I kind of did the math of like, well, I'd like to live to like 90. And so that puts us in like 2060. And when you think back to when you were a kid, we saw all the 50s sci-fi and everything about, we're going to have flying cars or, and, all electricity is going to be clean and we're going to be, a spacefaring civilization and it's going to be wonderful. And had someone told me when I was a kid that by 2060 we still wouldn't be, we'd still, wouldn't be able to drive our cars, or we wouldn't be able to go back to the moon, or we wouldn't be at Mars by then. Man, I can't fathom how depressing that would have been. And so, yeah, when you think about like where should we be with the vast amount of technology that we have now, and capability, engineering, material sciences, all of that stuff, we need to be working toward the world we want. And part of that is, I always think back to when we did the Frunk Full of Diapers road trip last year, and went down to fully charged in Austin, Texas, and then over to Orlando for a couple days at Disney. When I'm in Tomorrowland, I think of what Tomorrowland was when I was a kid, and some of those dioramas are still the same. Like, but we aren't any closer, and in some ways we're further away from that dream future, of, all those fantastic things. So I want to start seeing some of that stuff become reality. Big rant there, way off the rails. But yeah, it will happen, and it will be awesome. Yeah. They've got top men working on it. Top men. No offense to women, that's an Indiana Jones quote. So lots of brilliant women working on it too. Yeah. So, thanks for subscribing, Ricky. Yeah, you got a whole live stream to do. So, yeah, tomorrow. So get rested up for that. I'll be watching. So have a great night. Thanks for joining. I also wanted to talk about, again, taking it way down here. I've seen a few posts, and I have in the past, about like literate superchargers. And on one hand, yeah, some Tesla people are not being conscientious, and spilling or pouring stuff out and or leaving wrappers in places. Some of it's I have a daughter who has toys in the back seat. Sometimes there are wrappers in the back seat, and you get out and you don't notice, something blows away. It's not all intentionally people being jerks. But also a lot of superchargers, and I'm thinking especially in Oakdale, Minnesota, the superchargers are against the side of a Hy-Vee. And behind them are a bunch of shrubs and things. And those things collect litter. If you get a big windy day, stuff like that collects litter. So a lot of that might just be stuff that was in the parking lot, stuff from other parking lots. Maybe, nope. Apartment buildings nearby, stuff blows off balconies or whatever. So yeah, some people are pigs and it's awful, but some superchargers just get kind of junky because of the place, because of how they're set up, how, wind and parking lots and everything works. A lot of the superchargers in Minnesota and across North Dakota also have the squeegees and garbage cans there, and those are great. Some businesses will actually handle those. Other times Tesla owners nearby will go through and change that and resupply. The ones with the squeegee, if you're passing through and the windshield washer fluid is empty, go in and buy a new gallon, fill it up for the other people. It's just, a courtesy to do. So, hey, Jason, welcome. I talked about the thing I talked about the thing you sent me, but I didn't go into specifics because I don't want to get anyone in trouble as far as who sent that to you. So if you want to expand on that in the chat, feel free to do that. But yeah, hopefully no more. Hopefully we aren't headed for another chip shortage, or parts overall shortage. But so anyway, I think the literate superchargers, it's easy to say, oh, this piece of garbage is here. It must have been left by the last guy, but that's not always the case, especially on some of the big windy days we've had lately. So obviously, do your best to clean up after yourself at superchargers. Refill the washer fluid if you can, but it's not always people being jerks. Sometimes it's a jerk, 2 miles away, didn't get something in the garbage can, and it ended up by the supercharger after a good storm. So that's my 2 cents on that. Again, taking it way down in the grand scheme of things, but hey, litter is important too. It's something to deal with. There is a new app. If you guys haven't seen that yet on Twitter, the Tesla app has been updated. And let's see if I can... I haven't seen anything too major yet. Some people have been posting about like big things that they were super excited about. You can now set your charging to actual increments instead of just the tens. But I feel like you've been able to do that for a while. But maybe it didn't necessarily tell you what number you were on. But it's definitely worth downloading the new app, playing around with it, and I'm not going to... I was going to do this all in the screen for you, but I haven't figured out how to put that up there without showing my address, and I know everyone wants to come over and hang out, so I'm not going to put it on there because just too many people are going to jump in and come on over. I do have a snow cone maker, though, so there's that. It's state fair time. I got to get that thing out. Yeah, so check out the new app. Download it if you haven't yet. I don't know if it's for Android yet or if it's just Apple, but I was able to download it. And then I think I'm gonna save. I was gonna tie this onto my, snow cones are the best. Apple only, not Android yet. Okay, thanks, Jason. Seth is getting plaid tomorrow. Oh, good for him. When's Jason's coming? I can't believe they have inventory and don't have Jason's car done. I'm upset for you, Jason, so sorry about that. Hopefully that means yours is coming soon. After the holiday, the manager... Oh, okay. Yeah, that's great that the business is filling that up. That's super. I want to talk about superchargers here in a minute too. In fact, maybe I'll just jump to that because it seems like the Robert posted that the new one at Black Bear Casino is up and running. It looks like Grand Forks is up and running, and I've heard, although I haven't seen anyone actually charging there, that Watertown is also up and running. So we've talked about this a few times, and $6 through 20. no vignette, but you have a date range. So I'm hoping you get it. I'm excited and annoyed for you. So hopefully. Okay, Watertown is officially. Thank you. I don't think you have to delete the app. I think you just need to go in the App Store and just click update, and it should come down. That's how it worked for me. So, with all those up and running now, we've talked about this before, and here's my big idea, and I'm still working on the graphic design of this. I threw it together fast just to get it so I could show you guys on this. But, and I want some opinions on dates, so I'm going to play this. Where am I? I'm always off to the side on here. So I want to do Circumnavigate the State, and I'm going to have to come up with a better name that's easier to read in a thumbnail, because this is really, really bad for a thumbnail. Like I said, it's still pretty early, but I want to do this trip where we start and gather in, and whoever wants to join, great. Or if you want to pop out and meet me as a satellite, from where you are, I'm thinking someone like Tyler, if he wants to join, he's not going to want to drive all the way down to Rochester again just to, come back to Fargo. So what I'm thinking is putting this event in the Minnesota Tesla Owners Group. And I'm going to pause this at the end here because it's annoying to have it keep going and going and going. And again, forgive me for this really slapdash graphic design here. But I did get a nice sunset photo. Okay, yeah, that should be paused. And now I'm going to... Yeah, so here's my thinking is probably start and meet at the Rochester Supercharger if people want to meet, if people want to be involved with this. And then drive across I-90. Yeah, I can see it here too. Fantastic. Drive across I-90 and hit all the superchargers, even though we aren't going to need to charge at all of them. Just kind of make... I kind of want to do it to make the point that they're all there. And then go to Sioux Falls, which is a terrible, terrible location. It'll probably piss me off a little bit to be there. But again, it's kind of that, down corner. And then up through Watertown. Maybe I'm not a part of the South Dakota Tesla Owners Group. If they'll have me, I might sign up and see if we can get people from that area to come and join us. Anybody who wants to come or hit any of these individuals with us, and just kind of shoot a little video, talk to people while we're there. Maybe if there isn't a supercharger review yet, maybe do one as a group. Especially if we get locals there, it would be really cool to, hey, tell us about what's over there. What can I walk to? What's the lodging situation? Can I come over to your house? And I think that would be really cool. Then go from Watertown up to Fargo. Probably stay overnight at Fargo because at the point if I look back through my notes here, this was a little hard to figure out because no one has these superchargers as active yet. So like a better route planner, you can't plan, it wants to send you where there's charging and it doesn't know there's charging yet there. So by the time, from Burnsville anyway, which is where I am, by the time we get to Fargo, it's 572 miles. And so that's a good chunk for a day, especially if we plan on taking some time at each supercharger, whether people need a charge or just kind of do a 5-minute stop and wave and, hey, we're here, this is how far we are, kind of thing, especially on I-90 when there's so many stops. So Fargo seemed like a good idea. I think the Best Western is where we stayed on our last road trip, and that place has a really good pool. So if I have my daughter with me, my wife and I are still trying to figure out if we're all going or if just Joan and I are going, which would be fine either way. But if that place has a good pool, so I was thinking that's another good reason that can be our stop. And then we can kind of explore the northern part of the state the next day, going, it's just, I think it's like 81 miles from Fargo to Grand Forks. So head up there and then just cut across this top of the state. Originally, when I had this idea like a year ago, I was like, man, when Grand Forks is open, we can go right up into Canada and across. And so really circle the whole state. That's not going to work with COVID restrictions and everything. So we're going to keep this one. And then this way we get to hit Bemidji too. So then cut across to Bemidji, maybe stop at some parks or lakes along the way. I'm thinking, take that day a little easier. And then probably if people are coming with us who don't have the range, maybe we won't go out to Two Harbors. Maybe we just go down to Duluth to the new supercharger it starts with C. I can't think of the name of it. Carlton. Black Bear. But if people with shorter range vehicles can't make that far of a stretch, I think it would be more fun to have a convoy, but it would also be cool, especially since, I kind of want to showcase the state, how, diverse and cool the state is. So I'd like to have at least that little stretch from Two Harbors down to Duluth as some shots of Lake Superior and stuff like that. Obviously, it would be way cooler to go way up north, come down through Grand Marais and all that. But again, until there's superchargers up there, or we can get into Canada, that's not going to happen. But then hit Hinckley, and then one of the metro area superchargers. I don't know which one. I just kind of put a dot on the map and figured, whatever seems to make sense for people, and then wrap that up. So I want to make an event in the Minnesota Tesla Owners Group for that, but I also want to do it soon. So my thoughts were, obviously this weekend is the Maplewood Service Center is having an ice cream social and kind of a tour of, how they've expanded their facility there. So I want to do that, but I also don't want to throw this together in 2 days and no one could go. So my question to you guys is, does it make sense to do this over Labor Day weekend when probably a lot of people are traveling, so getting lodging and stuff might be more difficult? And meet, in the morning in Rochester on the 4th, stay overnight then in Fargo, drive on the 5th, and then you still have Monday to kind of chill out, or if people want to stop in Duluth or whatever, or go up north from there, if they want to shuck off, they can, and still enjoy some of their Labor Day weekend. I guess if nobody's coming with us, it doesn't really matter. People can just jump on and off the train as they want. Or does it make sense to push it to the 11th and 12th, which might be tough for people with kids who have just had their first week of school and are back, and then to try to fit that in. So my gut says if we can get the lodging sorted out, then Labor Day weekend would be easier. I don't know how busy Fargo is on Labor Day weekend. But I definitely want to get your opinions on this. And feel free to mock my terrible graphic design efforts here, too. But I do have... I am planning it kind of both ways, hitting two harbors and not hitting two harbors, again, depending on who's joining and when and where people are joining. We can get into Canada now? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I knew it opened for a while, but then I heard it closed, and I wasn't sure where we were on that. From Burnsville down to Rochester over to Fargo is 572 miles. The total miles is 1,074 miles, but I'm not sure if that includes the Two Harbors trip or not. That might add another 50 miles or something like that. So, around 1,100 miles. And it seems like from the Google Map pathing I did, it's going to be 17 hours and 26 minutes of driving. So I know not everyone wants to do that much driving. But if we can stop at, like I said, some of the parks, stopping to get out and charge, even charge and stretch when we don't need to. Tyler's going to probably have to stop if he joins us because Todd's going to hit his windshield with another rock. So there's going to be stuff that pops up. But really interested to see what people's thoughts are and what you think for timing. So feel free to either put that in the chat or put that in the comments below if you're watching later. And I'm going to go back to this scene just so I don't have to sit on the very edge of the chair so I'm centered. Oh, that's better. So that's how many miles. Or someone has an 85D and takes forever to charge. Yeah, exactly, Tim. Hi, welcome, by the way. But I want to do it. I was kind of debating this. On one hand, it would be cool to do this with as few stops and as fast as stops as possible to show not only can you get all across the state, but you can do it pretty quickly. Unless you have an 85D and need to charge it, slow for a long time. I'm not making fun of you. I was in that boat several months or just a few months ago, so I get it. And it's really not that bad. It's just not as easy. You and Todd can race on the charging. We can have a little meter going on. So that was my initial thought, is like, we're going to do it and we're going to do it fast and just hammer through this and probably not even get a hotel, just, go, gonzo with it. And then I thought, okay, that's like cool to prove, but nobody really does that trip. It's not that cool. And it also only shows these specific superchargers. And what I think would be really cool is, I just realized like how nerdy of a cool thing this is. But what I think it would be cool to show is, because we're showing the perimeter superchargers, and if people join us on the trip, I'm thinking like Tyler or people in different parts of the state, join us for one or two. At the end, kind of as we do this video, show where people came and charged along the way to meet us. And hopefully what that gives us is a nice spider web of paths that people came to join the main path, and show you can go Obviously not everywhere easily, but you can go so many different ways around the state, and we're all doing it. So it's not just one weird guy on YouTube. It's a lot of weird guys on YouTube and gals. No, but it's, kind of the whole state club. And again, if we can get some people from North Dakota, Roland, I don't know if you want to come down from Williston, but, if we can get some North Dakota, if we can get some English out of our mouth, if we can get some folks from North Dakota to come and, meet up either in Fargo or at Grand Forks, that'd be fantastic. If we can get, maybe we could, do a dinner or something if multiple people do end up going to Fargo. Just kind of do a hangout up there. So it's not just me talking at everyone. I can just sit and be quiet for a while and let everybody else talk. But then, I'll try to get this in the South Dakota owners group too. And, maybe we'll meet new friends. We can, meet some people in maybe Sioux Falls or Watertown there too. Because I'd love to hear their perspective with Watertown opening up. That's got to be, huge. I've been wanting that one open for a long time. Not because I go out there that often or ever. I've never actually been to Watertown, to the best of my knowledge. But just the fact that, it opens up another kind of circle of where we can travel. Yeah, if you want to come over and meet us in Fargo, or I guess that might be easier than going up to Grand Forks then, because you can't go straight across to Grand Forks yet. But maybe in a couple of years you will be able to, and that'd be cool. So anyway, does anybody have any thoughts on the dates? Would it be better to do over Labor Day, or would it be better to do the next weekend? Yeah, so I don't know if I'm not sure if in the Tesla owners group, if you can set up a poll. Maybe admins can. I can maybe talk to Gail or somebody and see if they can set something up. But obviously, I want to put it in a time and place where if people want to join, they're able to. I think I don't know if it was Tim or Jason was commenting on on Robert's post. Jason, I think, of when's the meetup for going up to Carlton, up to Black Bear, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool to do this, and have that meetup be part of this trip, and so obviously coordinating when the best time to do that. So again, let me know your thoughts. Talk to people, see what they think, and we can get a stopwatch for Tim and Todd, and check their charging speeds. So, yeah, I guess I will. So I'm going to move on from that, but again, think about it. Put your thoughts in the comments or chat. And let me know. I have no idea. It's 10:30. Okay. Yeah. So this I'm kind of circling back to, and if there's something else you guys want to talk about, feel free to add it in the comments too. Yeah, it's definitely it'll be interesting with that full FSD thing. That's the other big topic I wanted to talk about with Elon's tweet, but we kind of tied that into earlier conversation. but part of going all the way back to Sandy Munro's very passionate white hot rage rant about people not giving Tesla their due, and like I said, it kind of applies to SpaceX, too. But that's a different world than automotive. But something I've noticed, and kind of the robot thing was kind of a distraction to all of us who aren't being recruited. And there's been a lot of poo-pooing on that and not paying attention to all the holy crap, like impressive stuff that they announced earlier in the day. At least to me, I'm not an expert, but it seemed like the way they go about thinking about problems and solving them seems like pretty high level problem solving in my mind. I just don't know that computing world like I should. But it's just not my forte. But so many people like to bust on Tesla in the EV community. And I've talked a little bit about this before, but there's the complaint that their prices are too high, and they've had to raise prices or chosen to raise prices, and they're supposed to be transitioning the world to sustainable transportation, but yet these cars are still expensive, and they are. But most people don't, most people who are budget buying aren't buying brand new cars. But Tesla gets hammered for that because that's their mission, and they haven't made the $25,000 car yet. But the same people who hammer Tesla on the price thing don't seem to have a problem with Porsche or Lucid or Mercedes or Audi, where it's just like, well, those are those brands, so it's okay because these cars are beautiful and elegant and have, stitching that's just so. I liked quilted northern pattern on my doors, so it's a better car. Again, not my measure of quality, but to each their own, and that's okay. There's that, and then there's, they're way behind on production, and, Tesla, we're supposed to have the Cybertruck, which, yes, it would be awesome if we had the Cybertruck. But at the same time as they're behind on some things, they're also cranking out tons and tons of EVs. And so, while they're behind on something, they're still working toward the mission, where, Lucid hasn't produced anything yet. Ford's way behind on their, their goals, but they're also making ICE vehicles. GM, has a huge setback, which I feel terrible about. But while they're dealing with this setback in their EV world, they're, also, not coming out with the Hummer yet, not coming out with Silverado yet, and still making tons of gas cars. Lucid and Rivian, like I said, they're still delayed, and people are frustrated, but it doesn't seem like a big deal. When Tesla does it, it seems like it's a big deal. Obviously, it would be great if no one did that, and everybody hit their timelines. But, so there's kind of this trend, and, I follow people who I don't always agree with, because I like to hear other perspectives. And when they, also on full self-driving. The full self-driving is dangerous. It shouldn't be. These beta testers are just people, just random people. How can they let this loose in the wild? And it's not, it's not safe. It's not fair. It's and to some degree, with some people, it seems to come off as it must not be safe because I don't have it. It's not really being tested properly because I'm not doing it. And I feel like they, if they had it, they'd be talking, even if they were critical of some of the aspects of it, I don't think they'd be as critical of other people having it when they don't. Again, that's just my assumption from the way some people talk. And some of this is all fueled by, way overzealous Tesla fans who hammer anything that's not Tesla, or people who can't see the flaws in what Tesla does and only see flaws in other vehicles. I know we've talked about, Brandon just got the Brandon Flash EV Nomads on YouTube. Brandon and Kaylee, they just got an ID4 and now a Mini Cooper electric. And those are fine cars. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them, and they're EVs. So gas cars off the road, all good. But the level of vitriol about them buying these cars, and it kind of soured them a little bit on, like, wow, if that's how some Tesla people are, and not all Tesla people, but I can see how that could be a kind of big bummer. And he's always kind of been, I kind of get the vitriol toward some creators who've built their name and who have used the Tesla name to build themselves up as a channel, and then like, oh, I've moved past that now. I got my subscribers, I got my watch time, I'm all good. I got my sponsors all lined up. Yeah, Tesla's, fine, whatever. Even if they're not dogging on Tesla, just, that kind of rubs me the wrong way, because it's like, you built yourself up to be one thing, and then for whatever reason, even if it's a good reason, you don't, some people don't seem to see the using nature of, of appropriating that into their brand, and then once they have what they want, letting that go. But I do understand rebranding and changing, but and some people have done it a little more elegantly than others. But, the overzealous Tesla fans that jump down everybody's throats, luckily that doesn't really happen on my channel, so I'm super appreciative that everybody, for the most part, is super cool. Even, like, I've got some great negative comments. I can't remember what the best one was, but it was something like, this guy is, like, the most boring person in the world, but the content, or, like, the information is good. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. I can understand that. I'd probably be right there with you if it wasn't me. So, I don't mind that kind of stuff. If you can't laugh at yourself, then you're going to have a pretty sad life. But the thing that kind of bothers me about, obviously some people, like I said, have good reasons for, being a little gun shy on, the Tesla community and all that stuff, and, get a little frustrated. But what frustrates me about the people who bust on Tesla kind of routinely, is that they do that until they need kind of a hammer. And, when you need to drop the hammer on someone saying you can't travel because there aren't enough chargers, supercharger network, Tesla, that shuts everybody up. I know EA's, good on the coasts and supposedly growing, but it's not here yet. Superchargers are here and they're growing. And, so when people say stuff like that, boom, there was that article about, I'm trying to think if it was CNBC. It's been going around the last couple days of like, EVs aren't ready and there's no, the charging network's not ready for family road trips. And like the guy has since said, well, yeah, I didn't use a Tesla because everybody's done that. And it's like, well, you're grouping by the way you framed it. You grouped Tesla in that, So what you're saying is Tesla's ready for prime time and the other people, other networks still need work. Or maybe it's just some certain vehicles. I'm not sure. Didn't click on it. I've just read tons of comments about it. And maybe he did make that point in the article. I'm not sure, but just the gist of like, yeah, EVs aren't ready for prime time. It's the end of 2021, and yeah, maybe someday, maybe in 2040, maybe, on your deathbed you can order an EV and it might be okay to drive you to the morgue. I just get so frustrated with that stuff. So stuff like that comes out, and that's when these people who are kind of down on Tesla bring out like, oh, well, Tesla changed the industry. Even if they bring up like the Nissan Leaf, technically came out before, I think, the Model S. There may have been another one, but really like the Model S changed the industry. The Model 3 went from, yeah, we need to change someday to, oh man, we need to start changing now. And the Model Y, I think, is like accelerating that. And we'd be seeing more of that if we weren't having these supply chain shortages. And environmental impact too. Manufacturing anything is going to have issues. But, the Tesla impact report comes out and it's a boom, this is better, better energy or better energy usage, better safety, better. And so, we poo-poo Tesla because maybe a vehicle's late, maybe Jason's plaid is still not here, which I know, frustrating. I don't even know why I keep bringing it up. Why do I keep twisting the knife? What's wrong with me? But, on the other hand, then, when we need that hammer of EVs are ready, they're, environmentally better, the industry is changing, there are chargers enough that you can do road trips, the range is good, that's when, oh, we're going to reach back and go, yeah, oh, Tesla can do that. And it can get a little frustrating. So, I'd like to see people have a little more clear view of the pros and cons. No company's perfect and no company's going to be perfect. But anyway, that was my rant on that. And I think I'm done. And again, don't want to call any specific creators out there because, people have their own, everybody's got their own perspective. Everyone's an expert. I did kind of go on the Munro rant at the beginning, Jason. I think you missed it. We do have good info that Black Bear is up and running. Robert Hoke posted that it was running and charging, and I've seen other people say it was charging as well. Yeah, I don't have the Disney Plus update yet either. Yeah. Had a Model X Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when Tesla was doing my upgrades, my heat pump and spoiler. Nice. How did you like the Model X compared to the Y, John? Rant, rant, rant. Rage, rage. Oh, you did get the high and low pressure sensors were. Yeah, that was the heat pump fix, right? With the high and low pressure sensors. Dang it, there was another. In the middle of that rant, I thought of one other thing I was going to say, and it completely has snuck out of the side of my brain, oozed out onto the floor. Let's see, do I have... I cannot think of what it was, but yeah, like I said, let me know on the dates for the trip if you guys are interested and would be interested in that. I'd love to hear what people think on that timing. Yeah, the X doesn't have the heat pump yet. John had an X while his Y was getting fixed. So I said heat pump in regards to them fixing the pressure, the temperature sensors in his heat pump on the Model Y. I didn't make that very clear, but I was also asking him how it was driving the Model X, which I assume was a loaner. Well, he had the fix on his Y. Oh, you were in chill mode? Weird that regen didn't work. Or maybe it just didn't work as hard? Or did you just have it plugged into or charged up to 100% the whole time? I don't know. But I'm not thinking of the other thing I was going to talk about, so I apologize for that. But maybe I'll think of it in the next couple minutes. If you guys want to talk about anything else, or Elon's tweeted anything in the last hour that's earth-shatteringly different, let me know. And we're no regen, or not much regen, over 95% for sure. The Well Done for Foundation video will be coming out on Sunday, and I'll try to get a little teaser update to Zach and Jesse from the Now You Know channel to give them an update as well. The one on my channel will be significantly longer. Curtis and I talked for about an hour. Obviously, most of that was, well, a lot of that was talking about the Well Done Foundation, but some of it was us just BSing and talking about what we were going to talk about. So, but it is going to be probably fairly long. So I'm working on that. I was going to have it done last Sunday, and obviously it's a lot to get through from an editing standpoint, and YouTube seems to be unhappy with me from the amount of non-car specific things I've been doing with the Dickinson Museum kind of feature, doing that map animation feature, and then I thought, man, if I do the Well Done Foundation next without doing something car related first, man, I'm going to really get hammered. So I thought I'd do like car specific something, just to keep YouTube happy, and then I'll do the Well Done Foundation this Sunday. I did want to showcase that event because, like I said, in that it was really the and shoot, I didn't get back to talking about the Rochester event when was it Micah? I can't remember. Matthew. Yeah, when he was in here, I meant to talk about the Rochester event, so I apologize. He's probably gone now, but that was a great event. And the kind of thing I'd like to be doing. I'm gonna try to get. There's something in, I think, Matamidi tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get to that if I can. We'll see. But I did have enough footage for a video, and it was a great morning, beautiful day, and cool to see the other EVs and even the dealerships kind of trying to be there and showcasing what they have to offer. So a unique event I wanted to showcase. So that was there. Okay. I'm a new subscriber and Model 3 owner. Hi, thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome. I have some rants about Sentry Mode, like false events. I don't have a lot of Sentry Mode complaints. It's, for the most part, worked pretty well for me. I did have, a few weeks ago, I was parked outside on a small town city street, and there was a lightning storm, and so I woke up to a bunch of Sentry events when the thunder was too loud, or something had triggered it. But obviously it was just the weather. Maybe there was wind and something blew into the car. I'm not sure. Then my wife couldn't get the key card to work, and so I had a Sentry event of her getting very upset, which was not a false event, but not one I'll ever play for her, for sure. Honey, I'm sorry if you're watching this. She's not watching this. I wonder, do you turn Sentry Mode off at home, or do you park on the street? It would be nice if you could dial in the sensitivity of it, because a lot of times I will be at Menards or somewhere, and I know a lot of Tesla people park way off in the boondocks when they go to stores. I pretty much park just right in the mix. I know I'm tempting fate, but I figured there is Sentry Mode, and my kind of thinking is I want to normalize this as it's just a car, not, just parked in with all the other cars. Oh, that happens to be a Tesla next to that Ford, next to the Kia, next to the, whatever. That's actually one of my wife's hang up isn't quite the right word. But, she feels like an immense social stigma about a Tesla. And so there are times where she won't drive it certain places because she doesn't want people thinking a certain thing about her. And I do get that, but I also think, like, it's just a car. Like, you just drive it, and if people have a problem or, people assume something, that's their assumption, not necessarily reality. And the more we're seeing them around, the more people will get used to them. Sorry, got off the rant there on, Oh, glad you're, John, glad your air conditioner is working better. Yeah, okay. So John asked about this. I wasn't going to bring it up, but yeah, I have dropped down under 900 subscribers. I've been fluctuating by like about 10 subscribers. It can go up or down in a day. It's super crazy. I think what it is I have some non-US people who comment and subscribe. Some of those I suspect are not real accounts. So I think as those not real accounts, because I'll get a bunch of like repeat comments, or like almost the same phrases from multiple channels, and the channels have kind of generic like names, where it doesn't seem like John or Todd or like it doesn't seem to be a person. Excuse me. And so I think what happens is I drop a video, a bunch of comments and subscribers show up. It really pops up, and then I think YouTube sorts out like that's a fake account, that's a fake account, that's a fake account, and then so I drop back down again, and I don't know. I struggle with this because the comments I get that aren't in English, if they seem like they could be from a sincere person, I try to respond. I know I'm behind right now on some of the latest videos, but I try to respond to people's comments, or at least acknowledge them with a like or love or whatever. And so when I see a bunch of them that seem a little too similar, I want to respond in case they're a real person, but I also don't want to waste my time talking to bots. So yeah, I'm still like struggling with that subscriber number. What am I? It looks like 897 now. So who knows what'll happen this week? Maybe I'll just, like Tesla stock, I'll just keep bouncing at the same level. I'd really like to get over 1,000 by the end of the year. But we shall see. One thing at a time. So the auto dash cam icon disappears randomly. Just as going back up here to see this. The event in Maplewood starts at 1 p.m. as far as I remember, but I think that's right. And I think some people are road tripping to a pizza place in Wisconsin afterward. I feel like that, like a pizza barn or something. I don't know, but could be fun. I probably will be going to that. Mankato is getting a supercharger. It sounds like next year. I would love one there. Actually, I'd love one in Le Sueur because that's where I grew up, and so like there's a little rest area just outside of town by the Green Giant sign, and I was like, oh man, a supercharger here would be fantastic, or like downtown. But Mankato makes more sense. I get that. More people are going there than are going to Le Sueur. Dashcam icon disappears randomly. I wonder if there is, are you a new, you said you were, a new subscriber and a Model 3 owner. If you don't have, if your Model 3 is a little older and you have your own, if you have your own USB drive doing the clips, I wonder if something with that, like if it needs to be reformatted. Again, computers aren't my forte, which is why I didn't talk much about Dojo and the chips and all that stuff. It's maybe someone in the chat here can suggest something that might help. I don't know. I would disappear randomly unless it thinks the drive isn't in far enough. If you do have one of the newer cars with the drive in your glove box, if something's maybe hitting against that as you drive, or shifting, that could maybe get it out of whack or something. I don't know. Just to display. Oh, you didn't mess with the USB stick. Well, you do have the factory one. Yeah, we haven't had any problems with ours, but like anything, there can be a defective part or something. So I hope you can get that sorted out. Or maybe a software update might help with it. I'm not sure. Yeah, Jason knows more about this than me. I'm just catching up. Model A. Yeah. Well, John, thanks for sending Ricky to the live stream tonight. I appreciate that. It was cool to have a real YouTuber on for a change, isn't it? Speaking of which, hi Jim. As a fellow YouTuber, something strange is happening. You dropped 30 in the last couple of hours. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if it could be, I think on my account it could be some fake accounts, but I have seen kind of in their like little message board or maybe in the like creator email you get every year or every month. I feel like somewhere I've seen something where it said subscriber counts from this date range might not be accurate. And there's like working on trying to fix that. So yeah, I don't know. I'd love a jump of 30 in a day or a couple hours, but yeah, a drop of 30 is pretty painful. Especially at this size of channel. I hope you get your 30 back, Jim. Yeah, exactly, Jason. We got to get the plaid video. Maybe that's why I'm so like frustrated for you that you don't have your plaid yet, because I haven't been able to see it and do a video on it. It's all just me being selfish. That's what it is. Maybe a little bit. Where's it posted? On John, if you're asking about where is it posted, Supercharger, if you go to find us /Tesla or find us.Tesla, basically if you go to their Supercharger page, they have a map that you can look around it, and some of them in gray are coming in 2022. I think Mankato is coming in 2022. I don't know if they do Red Wing. They could. There is destination charging in Red Wing at the hotel downtown. I'm blanking on the name of it, but the kind of the historic downtown hotel right on the main drag. has destination charging in their parking ramp, and I think you would be able to use it. You might need to ask at the desk, but I stayed there a few years ago and was able to use it with no problem. I think they have 2 or 4 units. It's level 2, but it works. Love to break up the drive home from Worthington. Yeah, Mankato's a good middle of the road spot. So I would like to see one there, even if selfishly I want one in Lesueur. But I also have, like, my mother still lives in Lesueur, so I can just go there and plug in on 110, and really I never need to anymore because I've got enough range. Use Hempstead Drive. Okay. Oh, it is a 2021 Model 3. Okay, yeah. Then I would hear what John and Jason are saying about what kind of drive to use, because they know that better than I do. Altogether, everyone's an expert. I just have to keep saying that because I think it's fun. Todd's chiming in here too, so they know. Reformat didn't help. What's nice about the Blackberry superchargers? Yeah, the Holiday and supercharger in Duluth's kind of a pain in the butt. I do like that they put the cones there so people don't ice them. That is nice. Tesla tab. Oh, cool. Yeah, I think... Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. Perfect timing. Thank you. You're thinking about selling your CHAdeMO adapter? Yeah, if you don't ever use it, you might be now might be a good time where you could still get a decent return on the investment. I was going to... someone was posting about what EV should I buy on Twitter. And I was thinking about, like, what advice would I give? And, obviously Tesla. But, you could take you might want to hold off on a Bolt right now. And really the big one I would stay away from, unfortunately, right now is the Nissan Leaf. With CHAdeMO seeming to die a very quick death, I know there are really good deals on Leafs, but as far as I know, even the Leafs, I think it's Leafs. Correct me if I'm wrong. But even those they're selling now are still CHAdeMO, and I would hate for anyone to buy a CHAdeMO car just as that standard is dying. So, although probably the interior, how it runs, all that stuff, although I think they still are only air-cooled, not liquid-cooled, so you're also taking a chance on the battery tech. So that's... I would maybe even suggest someone take a flyer on a Bolt, maybe, in hopes that it can get the repair relatively soon, although I think for right now I would hold off on both of those. But anything else out there, if the range and price meets your needs, and you can charge it where you live here in Minnesota, CCS is still a little sparse, but it's improving and set to improve more. But yeah, I just had that thought about the Leaf, that I think the Aria is coming with a liquid-cooled battery, the new Nissan Aria, and I think it's got liquid cooling and CCS. So if you're in the market for a Leaf, wait for an Aria. It's probably more expensive, but you're going to be happier with it longer term. And isn't that delayed too? I haven't seen anything about them being delivered or seen any around, so I'd be interested to. I should check on that. What's with the Elon tweet, the guns of August? I read that, and I think I don't know if it was exactly a reference to anything specific or if it was just to get to his next tweet, because I think it was like 9 kings all gathered at once. And in the Lord of the Rings, I believe his next tweet had the quote from Lord of the Rings of like 9 rings for the kings of human men or something like that. So it may have just been he found this quote about a time 3 human kings were gathered at once, and it reminded him of Lord of the Rings, and he said, I want to post that, but first I'm going to post this long thing just as a random thing to tweet, so I then have the vehicle to tweet the next thing. It's probably something as meaningless as that. If it's something about the only other thing I can think of, and I'd have to go back and read it again, but the only other thing I can think about is if he was making some kind of veiled thing about like the legacy auto companies are still around while Tesla is, starting to come of age. Or maybe the legacy space companies are still around while SpaceX is SpaceX is coming of age, or that SpaceX and Tesla are bringing about like the change. So we saw this big change in, was it 1909? Was that quote from, or 1919? Maybe that's root beer. But anyway, so it could have been a veiled, commentary on we're about to see a big sea change similar to what we saw back then of, the era of royalty to the era of democracy and other forms of government. But I don't know. Sometimes we have to accept the fact that Elon just screws around sometimes and does stuff that amuses him, and that might be all there is to it. So until we get more context or something, that's my assumption. Yeah, John, if you don't ever use your CHAdeMO adapter and don't go places where you'd need CHAdeMO, I'd sell it. Get what you can now. Well, again, before the more robust the supercharger network gets, the less people are going to need that. So if it's out of stock and you'll never use it, I'd say sell it and get what you can for it. That's my 2 cents. I'm using the wrong trackpad to do the wrong computer. But it is about 11:15 here, Central Time, U.S., and I think unless you guys have another topic or question, I'm going to take off. And again, let me know if those dates, if any of those, like doing the trip over Labor Day or over the following weekend, the 11th and 12th. And actually, Jim, if you're still in here, I'm not sure how far north Iowa you are, but I'll play this one more time because I don't think you were here for this section. But planning on doing, and excuse the bad graphic design here, I'm still working on it. This is beta version graphic design, but I wanted to have something to show on the live stream tonight. But I'm planning on doing circumnavigating the state now that we've got some of these other superchargers opening up. And so I'm going to just get that here and pause it. And so the idea is that if people want to join for the whole route, that'd be great. But if people will just want to pop up to meet at some of these superchargers, people from South Dakota coming over to the Watertown or Sioux Falls, Jim, if you're in northern Iowa and want to pop up to one of these superchargers as we go through, I just think it would be cool to kind of showcase people in the surrounding areas, and that you can travel all around Minnesota now with the new superchargers opening up. And then next year maybe we'll add Canada. Maybe next year we can do through like into Wisconsin, through Iowa, up south in North Dakota, into Canada, and then back down the coast of Lake Superior, and like really do a big loop, which would be pretty cool, and then have all the other groups join in. But for this year, I'm keeping it small and just hitting the new superchargers. I keep going out of frame there, sorry. But if people want to join in on this, I'll be making an event in the Minnesota Tesla Owners Group for sure, and keep you guys posted on next week's live stream about what the day range plan is. But it's either going to be Labor Day weekend or the following weekend. Yeah. I just realized something that's on that next Friday, but that's okay. That's Friday. That's not the weekend. And we'll go back to here. And I can sit on my stool again better. But I was gonna get the captain's hat. I actually have a sextant in the the kind of arced thing with the lenses and stuff on it. I have that on the front seat as I'm taking that photo, and I borrowed it from my old workplace. We used to do like themed video shoots and stuff like that, and so one was a nautical theme. They had all these props, and so I ran by and I was like, hey, can I borrow the spyglass? And should have grabbed the tri-corner hat too, but I didn't, and figured we'd just keep it relatively simple. Originally, my thought was I would get in the frunk and like be standing, kind of like Washington crossing the Delaware in the frunk, but it doesn't open wide enough. And so I was like all hunched over and like my butt was way in the camera, or like, it was just a really bad angle. So I decided I'll just stand next to the car and look slightly more dignified. Again, I don't know what if that's what the final graphic's going to look. Well, that's not what the final graphic's going to look like, but we'll see. Still working on that. That's just, like I said, beta version. But thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate everyone stopping in tonight. And we'll see. There's not going to be a new full self-driving beta dropping this week. Elon said they're going to skip that, and then the following week probably drop 10, full self-driving beta 10. And so we'll all be waiting with bated breath to see how that rewrite goes. Hopefully it's fantastic, and then in 2 weeks we'll be seeing it for the rest of us. Kev votes for the 11th and 12th. Okay. Good to know. I appreciate that. Yeah, so there's... Yeah, the Maplewood event should be pretty cool. I think if people want, they just expanded that location. Originally, it had like maybe 3 service bays, and then they added like 4 more or something like that. I'm sure we'll learn about it while we're there, but they're going to do kind of an ice cream social. I'm guessing that'll be in the parking lot, and then I think Robert had said they'll do tours for people who want to kind of walk through and see the new spaces and how they've got stuff laid out. Yeah, it would be cool if you can make it. That'd be very cool. And you can meet other fun people, which is always fun. So, again, thank you. Look for Sunday, the Well Done Foundation video is coming out with some of the cool updates they've got there. They are really ramping up as other companies are slowing down and not keeping up with shortages. These guys are making some big progress and getting more states involved and more agencies involved. Yeah, just making faster progress than I expected. So I'm excited about that, and I think it'll be really cool to tune in and see that on Sunday. Like I said, Zach and Jesse's Now You Know channel, Tesla Time News Show, I'll do a little teaser for them too. But those have to stay pretty short, so they can just be segments in their show. But thank you. Like I said, have a great night. Really appreciate everyone joining in. And Ricky from 2-Bit Da Vinci was in here earlier. If you haven't seen Vice Versa, the live stream with Ricky and from 2-Bit Da Vinci and Undecided Matt Farrell, they do a live stream, and they're going to do that tomorrow afternoon. And so if you want to join in and see them, I think Vice Versa is either on its own channel or it might be on Matt's channel. I can't quite remember, but if you search either 2-Bit Da Vinci or Undecided with Matt Farrell, or search for 2-Bit Da Vinci or Vice Versa, you should be able to see that stream. So they're going to be talking about Tesla's mission, and I'm looking forward to tuning in and checking that out. So that's it for me tonight. Thanks again. I really appreciate everyone hanging out, and I'll see you Sunday and then next Wednesday. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.